If you would like to see the uncut version of this video with everything I can't show you on YouTube, or if you would like to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/perplexus. Links will be provided down below.
The Daily Mail released a cache of documents today exposing the extent of Jeffrey Epstein's close connections with celebrities and elites.
From the very outset, there had been plenty of mystery shrouding Jeffrey Epstein, a boy from Brooklyn who'd inexplicably exploded onto the international stage among the rich, famous, and powerful. The origin and extent of his wealth were unknown. His network of connections was vast, diverse, and questionable. He had properties scattered across the world and was frequently found in these residences, often in the company of women of questionable age and purpose. His arrest in July 2019 on sex trafficking charges sparked a flurry of speculation that long-awaited answers, along with sinister connections and misdeeds. But Epstein was dead by the following month, discovered hanged in his prison cell at the now-shuttered Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City. Although the death was ruled a suicide, its abrupt and inglorious nature further fueled conspiracy theories and suspicion about almost anything and anyone connected with Epstein. A recent release of a substantial collection of documents, which includes Epstein's personal calendar, emails, the final moments of his imprisonment, and the ensuing aftermath, provides a detailed glimpse into the late sex offender's remarkable network of influence and power. The documents unveil involvement of various presidents, prime ministers, royalty, and celebrities who were not previously associated with Epstein. For decades, important, influential, serious people attended Epstein's dinner parties, rode his private jet, and furthered the fiction that he was some kind of genius hedge fund billionaire. These files illustrate how Epstein kept up associations with the global elite, despite his status as a registered sex offender who served 13 months in prison for engaging sexually with underage girls. They also reveal that he maintained sexual relations with up to 7 underage teens daily, even after his conviction. Furthermore, the files lay bare the perverse financier's unusual obsession with teeth. The files, surrendered by Epstein's estate, were handed over to the U.S. Virgin Islands government, where Epstein owned 2 private islands, as part of their investigation into his sex trafficking network. Much like Epstein's infamous Black Book of Contacts, the schedules within these files contain personal numbers and email addresses. Moreover, a significant new batch of documents from the Bureau of Prisons provides further details about the notorious sex offender's final days and the repercussions following his death in prison. Prince Andrew, the son of Queen Elizabeth, has acknowledged a friendship with Epstein that lasted over a decade. He often traveled on Epstein's private jet, visited his various properties, and even made trips to Epstein's notorious Caribbean island. One of Epstein's victims, Virginia Giuffre, previously known as Virginia Roberts, claimed she was coerced into having sex with the Duke when she was 17, a claim he has always denied. However, a federal judge dismissed a civil lawsuit against Prince Andrew last year after he reportedly agreed to pay Roberts £12 million as a settlement. Roberts first encountered Ghislaine Maxwell, a British socialite and daughter of the late media magnate Robert Maxwell, while working as a spa attendant at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago club in the mid-2000s. Reading a book about massage therapy, she was approached by Maxwell, who noted her reading material, asked about her interest in massage therapy, and proposed a potential job opportunity working for Epstein as a traveling masseuse, stressing that no prior experience was needed. Upon arriving at Epstein's Palm Beach home for her first assignment, she found Epstein lying naked, and Maxwell instructed her on how to massage him. Soon after being introduced to Epstein by Maxwell, Roberts was groomed to provide sexual services under the pretense of professional massage therapy training. Between 2000 and 2002, Roberts was closely associated with Epstein and Maxwell, traveling around the world in private jets and made to provide massages and sexual services for him and a number of his business associates. In March 2001, Roberts was allegedly trafficked to Prince Andrew. After a night out at a club, she alleges Maxwell instructed her to do to Andrew what she was doing for Epstein. In 2019, court documents from a civil lawsuit revealed Roberts' claims that Epstein and Maxwell forced her to have sex with several others, including hedge fund manager Glenn Dubin, attorney Alan Dershowitz, politician Bill Richardson, late MIT scientist Marvin Minsky, lawyer George J. Mitchell, and MC2 modeling agent Jean-Luc Brunel. In an unsealed deposition, Roberts also mentioned seeing President Bill Clinton with 2 young girls on Epstein's island. An email Epstein sent to J.P. Morgan on August 31, 2011, proposed Andrew as a potential investment partner because he is now allowed to make money. Epstein was trying to convince the bank to collaborate with Bill Gates on a $100 million fund for elite donors, and a critical meeting was scheduled on that date. In this email, Epstein suggested that investor apprehension towards the bank, which he referred to as a quasi-US government arm, would be less problematic for a client relationship than an institutional joint venture. Epstein also mentioned the financial situation of Andrew and his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, with whom he remained close following their divorce in 1996. Ferguson had been caught in a newspaper sting in May 2010, asking for $550,000 in exchange for access to Andrew. She later expressed deep regret for her comments, insisting her ex-husband had no knowledge of her meeting with the undercover journalist. Ferguson's desperate measures were reportedly due to her $5.5 million debt, which she claimed was paid off in July 2011, thanks to Andrew's intervention. Epstein's email, sent a month after this announcement, indicates Andrew had shared details about his and Ferguson's financial situation with him. Photographs shared on Facebook by Epstein's housekeeper and driver, a married couple named Jojo and Lynn Fontanilla, show Andrew visiting Epstein's New York townhouse on March 5, 2010, 2 days after an email conversation with Epstein's assistant about scheduling a meeting with the Duchess. Despite Epstein's 2008 conviction for procuring a child for 14-year-old girl, for which he served nearly 13 months in jail, Prince Andrew continued his association with him. Emails unearthed in the recent document release suggest that Andrew's claim of severing ties with Epstein in 2010 is false, as Epstein was recommending the prince as a potential investor in 2011.
One of Epstein's accusers, Virginia Roberts, has made allegations against you. She says she met you in 2001. She says she dined with you, danced with you at Tramp nightclub in London. She went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell, your friend. Your response?
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever.
You don't remember meeting her?
No. The problem was the fact that once he had been convicted, I stayed with him. And that's the bit that as it were, I kick myself for on a daily basis, because it was not something that was becoming of a member of the royal family. And we try and uphold the highest standards and practices, and I let the side down. Simple as that.
After an interview with the BBC where Andrew stated he did not regret his friendship with Epstein, he faced severe public backlash. In response, he voluntarily stepped back from his royal duties and was stripped of his military affiliations and royal patronages. Epstein's victims have urged the prince to cooperate with the FBI, a request he has consistently declined. Following the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth, and his brother Charles's ascension to the throne, Andrew was reportedly expelled from Buckingham Palace by the new king. Despite this, Andrew reportedly intends to honor the lease he signed in 2003 and remain in the £30 million mansion. Andrew moved into the suite in the 1980s, where he reportedly had palace staff rearrange his collection of teddy bears daily. David Blaine, the American magician, endurance artist, and extreme performer, is renowned for his public displays of resilience, having set and broken numerous world records. Despite his previously known association with Epstein being limited to an entry in Epstein's Black Book of Contacts, recently revealed records indicate a deeper friendship between the two. Epstein's notorious Black Book records suggest that Blaine performed privately for Epstein's dinner guests in 2003, enchanting personalities like Sergey Brin, Mort Zuckerman, and Doug Band, a Bill Clinton aide, with his captivating card tricks. This gathering, orchestrated by Ghislaine Maxwell, reportedly included a group of young women introduced as Victoria's Secret models. The latest documents reveal that in June 2013, Epstein dined with futurist Pablos Holman and an individual named Jessica Joffe, likely the actress. The schedule noted, David Blaine will stop by toward the end of dinner. When contacted, Holman thought he was in San Francisco at that time, but was uncertain. Acknowledging his acquaintance with Blaine, Holman described Epstein as the most toxic thing in the whole world. He added, even if there was a dinner, I probably wouldn't want to say anything about it. Fast forward to September 2013, Blaine attended another dinner at Epstein's residence, rubbing shoulders with Woody Allen and Jeff Koons, along with Koons' wife Justine, as per the records. In January 2014, Epstein organized another gathering that included his Eastern European girlfriend Karina Shuliak, Woody Allen, and Jes Staley, among others. David Blaine's name was on the attendee list. The event was also marked by a probable appearance by Sarah and Brian, presumably referring to Sarah Kellen, one of Epstein's primary recruiters. The schedule mentioned a potential visit from Chris Rock, marking the comedian's first association with Epstein. Epstein did extend an invitation to comedian Chris Tucker in 2002 for a trip to Africa with former President Bill Clinton on board Epstein's private jet. However, a source close to Rock clarified that Rock did not attend the dinner. The source conceded Rock's friendship with Woody Allen, but suggested Epstein might have mixed up Rock with Tucker. Epstein's calendar entry for April 4, 2014, served as a reminder of David Blaine's birthday, and the subsequent day's entry read, TBD with David Blaine. Epstein and Gates had numerous interactions as Epstein sought to persuade Gates to become the public face of a large-scale investment fund, requiring contributions of at least $100 million from wealthy investors. The Wall Street Journal disclosed that Epstein allegedly blackmailed Gates in 2017 when he discovered Gates's affair with a Russian bridge player, Mila Antonova. It was revealed by DailyMail.com that Antonova was photographed with the infamous Russian spy Anna Chapman in 2010, around the same time she was linked to Gates. Gates and Antonova met approximately in 2010 when she was in her 20s. They played bridge together, an event she fondly recounted in a 2010 YouTube video.
2 years ago, I said to everyone that I'm going to meet this guy. Nobody believed me. Last year, I played against him at the same table at the National Bridge Tournament in Washington, D.C. I didn't beat him, but I tried to kick him with my leg. So now I organizing.
Antonova and Boris Nikolic, a close Gates advisor, met Epstein in his New York City townhouse in November 2013, where Antonova proposed her fundraising plan for a bridge promotion initiative. However, Epstein did not invest in Antonova's project. In spite of this, Antonova lived in a New York apartment that Epstein arranged for her in the following year, and was supported by him to attend a software coding school. Epstein later demanded Gates reimburse him for the tuition fees he initially paid for Antonova. Epstein's blackmail against Gates was made in 2017 through an email, after he failed to persuade Gates to participate in a multi-billion-dollar charity fund he was planning. This fund was seen as a way for Epstein to restore his reputation after his 2008 conviction for solicitation and procurement of a minor for prostitution. Epstein and Gates had numerous meetings to discuss the proposed fund. In April 2011, Gates was scheduled for a dinner with former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers and Jes Staley, then head of J.P. Morgan. Over the next few months, Epstein consistently emailed Mary Erdos, a senior J.P. Morgan banker, and Staley to finalize the fund. Despite Epstein's efforts, the fund never materialized. Nevertheless, he kept pursuing Gates and arranged a dinner for him in October 2013. By September 2014, Gates had several meetings with Epstein in New York. However, Gates's friendship with Epstein is said to have played a significant role in his divorce, as well as allegations of harassment at Microsoft and his acknowledged extramarital affair. Despite these challenges, Epstein continued to court Gates and even planned gifts for him. The last entry regarding Gates in the records is from November 2014, when Epstein's pilot contacted Epstein's scheduler to arrange a meeting with Gates in Washington. In 2021, Gates confessed to having an affair nearly 2 decades prior, but only after the Journal published an investigation finding that Microsoft's board members had asked Gates to step down in 2020 amid inquiries into his alleged romantic relationship with a female employee. Woody Allen, the renowned American filmmaker, comedian, and actor, is known for celebrated films such as Annie Hall, Manhattan, and Sleeper. Allen commenced a 12-year relationship with actress Mia Farrow in 1980, although they never tied the knot. At the start of their relationship, Farrow was already a mother to 7 children, 3 biological sons from her previous marriage to composer Andre Previn, 3 adopted girls, 2 Vietnamese and 1 Korean, Soon-Yi Previn, and 1 adopted Korean boy, Moses. Farrow expanded her family by adopting Dylan Farrow from Texas in July 1985. Allen did not participate in the adoption process but took on a parental role with Dylan once she arrived and subsequently spent more time at Farrow's home. In 1991, Allen embarked on a romantic involvement with Soon-Yi Previn, Farrow's adopted daughter. Allen asserts that the relationship started in late December 1991 when Previn was 21, but there are suggestions that it began earlier, during Previn's final year of high school. The relationship between Previn and Allen prompted Farrow to end her romantic involvement with Allen, although they maintained a professional relationship where Farrow would feature in Allen's movies. The extent of Allen's close association with Jeffrey Epstein became clear through their mutual engagements documented in calendars. The records reveal frequent meetings, shared walks, attendance at Allen's rehearsals, dinners, and even movie editing sessions at Epstein's home. There were also reminders for Epstein to accompany Allen to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, an institution where Epstein made a donation of $850,000 and had close ties with several professors. In December 2013, Epstein attended Allen's film screening and birthday party and later traveled to Epstein's New Mexico ranch. By September 2014, their association had become quite active, with shared dinners and meetings featuring high-profile individuals. Further controversy arose around Allen's relationships with underage girls when Baby Christina Engelhardt disclosed her 7-year relationship with Allen that started when she was 16. Engelhardt claims she met Allen at Elaine's restaurant in October 1976, boldly leaving her phone number at his table. The director, then 41 and at the height of his fame, invited her to his Fifth Avenue penthouse. He never questioned her age, but she informed him she was still in high school. Within weeks, they became intimately involved, though she would not turn 17, the age of consent in New York, until December that year. Engelhardt speculates that she was the inspiration for Allen's film, Manhattan, which portrays a middle-aged man's relationship with a teenager. Their relationship lasted for 7 years before concluding. In August 1992, Allen was accused by his adoptive daughter, Dylan Farrow, then 7 years old, of at the home of her adoptive mother, actress Mia Farrow, in Bridgewater, Connecticut. Allen has consistently refuted these allegations.
connection with Jeffrey Epstein? No.
Former President Bill Clinton has denied he had a close relationship with Epstein, and after Epstein was newly accused in 2019 of children for more than a decade, a spokesman for the former president tweeted this statement. President Clinton knows nothing about the terrible crimes Jeffrey Epstein pleaded guilty to in Florida some years ago, or those with which he has been recently charged in New York. In 2002 and 2003, President Clinton took a total of 4 trips on Jeffrey Epstein's airplane, 1 to Europe, 1 to Asia, and 2 to Africa, which included stops in connection with the work of the Clinton Foundation. The statement said Clinton had never been to Little St. James Island, Epstein's private island. In September 2002, Clinton took Epstein's private jet to Africa, a trip Clinton had organized to discuss economic development there and the fight against HIV and AIDS, the New York Times reported. Shantae Davies, the woman who appears in the photo with Clinton, has said she was also on the flight. She worked for Epstein as a masseuse, and she has accused Epstein of her. The Sun newspaper posted a photo in a Facebook post in January. Clinton was pictured with his arm around Epstein's private masseuse Shantae Davies, the caption says. Davies categorically denied that any improper behavior occurred around Clinton, and that he was a complete gentleman the entire time. Clinton has said he took a total of 4 trips, but flight records published by Gawker in 2015 suggest he took more than a dozen flights, the news outlet then reported. A year later, Fox News reported that flight logs showed he took at least 26 trips. The New York Times has explored this discrepancy, writing that it's unclear how many individual flights were involved in each of the 4 trips Clinton has claimed, and whether that could make up the difference. In recently unsealed court documents, a woman who accused Epstein of sex trafficking has also said that she once saw Clinton on Epstein's island with 2 young girls from New York. She didn't implicate him in any wrongdoing. 9 months after his death, the sickening scenario in which a top former U.S. President Bill Clinton advisor was discovered hanging from a tree with a gunshot wound to his chest has now been revealed. In contradiction to earlier reports, a shotgun was found in proximity to the body of Mark Middleton, a former aide to Bill Clinton with ties to Jeffrey Epstein, who died by suicide last year. Documents secured by the Daily Mail reveal that a Stoger 12-gauge Colt shotgun was located 30 feet from Mark Middleton's body on May 7, 2022. His body was discovered on Heifer Ranch, Perryville, Arkansas, a property owned by an NGO allegedly linked to both the Gates Foundation and Clinton Foundation. Previous reports from the same outlet indicated the absence of a weapon at the scene, a claim that has now been rectified. Additional notes, prepared by Sergeant Keenan Carter, described the deliberate steps Middleton, aged 59, took to ensure his suicide attempt would succeed. These included standing on a bench, fastening an electrical cord around his neck, and ultimately shooting himself in the chest. Shortly before his death, Middleton, a businessman in the HVAC sector and former special advisor to President Bill Clinton, texted his wife, Rhea, saying he had found the perfect place for a nap in the sun. A ranch worker, Ian Peters, discovered Middleton's body later that day, having noticed Middleton's SUV parked in one spot for an extended period. The Daily Mail reports that law enforcement found a gun case and 3 rounds of buckshot in Middleton's car before locating his body. Sergeant Carter's report suggests the shotgun was thrown from Middleton's body due to recoil and the angle it hit the ground. Based on the absence of blood in Middleton's body, the report indicates he likely died within seconds. Coroner Theodore Brown's notes within the report also reveal Middleton's history of depression and officially categorize his death as suicide. Initial assertions by the Daily Mail that Middleton's death was self-inflicted, despite the alleged lack of a weapon at the scene, fueled conspiracy theories around the Clinton body count. Middleton's links to Jeffrey Epstein amplified speculations that he was targeted by the Clintons. Before his political career ended in 1995, Middleton had logged Epstein into the White House 7 times out of Epstein's total 17 visits. Reports also suggest Middleton traveled on Epstein's notorious Lolita Express jet. After a 1996 White House investigation, Middleton was prohibited from visiting the executive residence without senior approval due to allegations of leveraging his access to impress business clients, a charge he consistently denied. Donald Trump and Epstein, a convicted sex offender, were renowned figures of the 1980s and 1990s social circuit. Alan Dershowitz, an attorney, stated to the New York Times, "In those days, if you didn't know Trump and you didn't know Epstein, you were a nobody." The Times piece recounted a party Trump hosted at his Mar-a-Lago club in 1992, attended by Epstein, Trump, and 28 women from a calendar girl competition. By 2002, Trump declared his 15-year acquaintance with Epstein in an interview with New York Magazine, characterizing him as a terrific guy. Trump added, "It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side." Trump's name appears on the flight log of Epstein's plane, and Epstein's brother reported that Trump frequently flew on the aircraft. However, when Epstein's sexual misconduct allegations hit the headlines in 2019, Trump distanced himself from Epstein, asserting that he was not a fan and barred him from Mar-a-Lago. It appears that the friendship between the two waned in the years following Trump's New York Magazine interview. The Washington Post disclosed that in 2004, Trump and Epstein engaged in a bidding war over a Palm Beach mansion, which Trump won and later sold for over double the purchase price. The rivalry over this property marked the end of their friendship. During the 2016 presidential campaign, an anonymous woman filed and subsequently dropped a lawsuit accusing Trump of raping her at an Epstein-hosted party in 1994, when she was just 13. Trump strongly refuted the allegations as categorically false, and journalists have expressed doubts about the account's reliability, given its promotion by marginal characters, including a former Jerry Springer producer. In 2005, a Florida woman reported to the police that her stepdaughter had been assaulted by a wealthy local man. This led to a police and FBI investigation, revealing a sexual pyramid scheme where girls were employed to recruit other young women with dozens of victims reported. In 2007, Epstein was indicted on charges that could have led to a life sentence. However, then Miami U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta brokered a plea deal for Epstein, which resulted in Epstein serving only 13 months in a Palm Beach County jail for soliciting prostitution from a minor. Acosta, who later served as President Trump's labor secretary, resigned in 2019 amidst the uproar over the leniency of Epstein's sentence. During Ghislaine Maxwell's trial, a witness identified as Jane testified that Epstein introduced her to Trump when she was 14 at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, Florida in the 1990s. Jane did not allege any inappropriate behavior by Trump and did not elaborate on her presence at the resort. She admitted participating in a Miss Teen USA beauty pageant associated with Trump in 1998, although it was unclear whether this happened before or after their meeting at Mar-a-Lago. Public accusations of sexual misconduct against Trump have been made by at least 26 women, including claims of rape, non-consensual kissing and groping, looking under women's skirts, and intruding on teenage pageant contestants while they were undressed.
I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant and therefore I'm inspecting it.
You're like a dog.
In April 2023, the trial of Jean Carroll, who accused Trump of groping her in the 1990s in a Bergdorf Goodman dressing room, proceeded. By May 2023, the jury found Trump guilty of and defaming Carroll, ordering him to pay $5 million in damages. Less than a year ago, the multi-company CEO Elon Musk, known for his roles at Tesla, Twitter, and SpaceX, posted a tweet featuring an assortment of emojis including a dinosaur, unicorn, and dragon, alongside a veiled reference to the Epstein-Maxwell client list. He captioned it, "Things I'll never see in my life," adding a personal comment. The most intriguing aspect is not the DOJ failing to leak the list, but the media's indifference. Isn't that strange? Musk was alluding to the ongoing conjecture that the U.S. Department of Justice or other government authorities might possess a list of clients involved in the operations of the deceased financier and predator, Jeffrey Epstein, and his ex-associate, British socialite and convicted sex offender, Ghislaine Maxwell. A past photo has made the rounds on social media showing Musk in formal attire alongside Maxwell at a Vanity Fair Oscars afterparty in 2014. Upon Maxwell's arrest in 2020 for sex trafficking minors and the reappearance of the photo, Musk expressed his displeasure. He stated via a tweet, "I have no knowledge of Ghislaine," and clarified, "She caught me unaware at a Vanity Fair party several years ago." In recent developments, the U.S. Virgin Islands, which filed a lawsuit against J.P. Morgan Chase alleging Epstein's principal business via his accounts at the bank was human trafficking, has subpoenaed several high-profile executives for any communication or documents pertaining to J.P. Morgan and Epstein. These executives include Google co-founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin, Thomas Pritzker, chair of Hyatt Hotels, entertainment executive Michael Ovitz, and U.S. News and World Report owner Mortimer Zuckerman. As of April 28th, Musk received a subpoena on the grounds of suspicions that Epstein might have referred or attempted to refer Musk to J.P. Morgan, according to a recent court filing. The subpoena calls for Musk to produce any documents displaying communication involving him, J.P. Morgan, and Epstein, and also any documentation about Epstein's involvement in human trafficking and/or his sourcing of girls or women for consensual sex. The USVI claimed in a court filing that they had failed to locate Musk to serve him the subpoena in person, as per standard protocol. They further added that an attorney for Musk did not respond to a request to accept the subpoena on behalf of his client. Musk strongly criticized the notion of receiving a subpoena in this case through a tweet. "This is ridiculous on multiple fronts," he wrote on Twitter, which he acquired and privatized last year. Back in 2018, Epstein claimed to the New York Times that he had been advising Musk following the opening of an investigation into Musk's remarks about privatizing Tesla by the Securities and Exchange Commission. A Tesla spokesperson clarified to the Times, "It's incorrect to say that Epstein ever offered advice to Elon on any matter." Staley, who previously held the position of chief executive at J.P. Morgan's elite private bank, which listed Epstein as a client, subsequently became the bank's chief executive before leaving in 2013. He assumed the leadership of Barclays, a British bank, in 2015, but was ousted in 2021 due to his connections with Epstein. A recent court ruling accuses Staley of a woman at Epstein's Virgin Islands retreat. The ruling alleges that Staley employed aggressive force during the assault and told the anonymous victim that Epstein had given him free rein to do as he pleased with her. The records indicate that Staley had at least 31 meetings with Epstein between 2010 and 2015, many of which occurred after typical working hours. In April 2011, they dined with former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, and in January 2014, Staley joined a group at an Italian restaurant that included Epstein and Woody Allen. In April 2013, Staley attended a dinner with ex-Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak at Epstein's residence. In March 2015, 7 months prior to his appointment as the head of Barclays, Staley emailed Epstein from St. Bart's in the Caribbean. He wrote that his daughter wished to discuss her future with Epstein, and that she was confirmed to graduate from Columbia University on July 1st. He implored Epstein to save the date and insisted on his presence. Around the same period, Epstein's assistant reminded him of Staley's request to have dinner with him and his family. However, the most unsettling entries in the calendar refer to Epstein ensuring the availability of wine during Staley's visits, which could potentially be a coded language for something else. Various entries from Epstein's schedulers underscored the necessity of having wine ready for Staley's visits. The term wine appears in other correspondences between the two men that were disclosed in a lawsuit involving J.P. Morgan and the USVI government. In November 2009, while Epstein was serving his sentence for sex crimes involving minors, Staley emailed him from his Caribbean island, appreciating their profound friendship and expressing his wish for them to be together there in the future. In December 2009, Staley acknowledged the risk of emailing Epstein, but expressed his gratitude for being able to give him a heartfelt hug in New York City. Following day, Epstein sent a redacted picture of a young woman to Staley, leading to a conversation about French wine and thoughts of alcohol. In previous exchanges from July 2010, the duo discussed Disney princesses, with Staley joking about being tracked and saying hi to Snow White. When Epstein asked which character Staley would like next, Staley's response, Beauty and the Beast, was met with Epstein's cryptic response, "Well, one side is available." On February 14, 2012, Irina Shayk's name appears in the records. During this period, the Russian model was in high demand, gracing the covers of renowned magazines like Esquire UK, and was in a relationship with football megastar Cristiano Ronaldo. Her career was on the brink of major success, including her debut on the silver screen in 2014's film Hercules. However, Shayk's representatives vehemently deny any interaction or association with Epstein. The name of Wendi Murdoch, ex-wife of media tycoon Rupert Murdoch, can be seen under the date of September 27, 2012, with a note indicating a potential visit at 9 p.m. Another entry on November 6, 2010, mentions a Wendi, but no further specifics are given. Murdoch was still in a marital relationship with her spouse at that time, a union that ended in 2013 after 14 years. This potential interaction presents the most significant connection between Epstein and Rupert Murdoch thus far. On September 20th, 2013, Epstein's schedule denotes a TBD dinner with Bill Gates, alongside Norwegian politicians Thorbjorn Jagland and Terje Rod Larsen. The entry suggests that Richard Branson might join the dinner. However, a source close to the Virgin Group's founder confirms his presence in the UK that night, where he was hosting the Stars of the Year event for his company and a party for Virgin Trains. CIA Director Burns, appointed in 2021 by President Joe Biden, interacted with Epstein around 10 years ago when Burns was about to leave public service, as per the statement from CIA spokesperson Tammy Kupperman Thorpe. She stated, "The director had minimal knowledge of Epstein, who was presented as a specialist in financial services, offering advice on transitioning to the private sector. There was no established relationship between them." Documents revealed that Burns, who encountered Epstein in Washington and visited his Manhattan townhouse once, had arranged meetings with Epstein in 2014. Numerous other meetings with high-profile individuals were set to happen at Epstein's townhouse, a location where prosecutors in 2019 claimed Epstein's many underage girls. Kathryn Ruemmler, a former White House counsel during the Obama administration and later associated with Goldman Sachs Group Inc. in 2020, had numerous planned meetings with Epstein. As per the documents, she was set to join Epstein on a trip to Paris in 2015 and a visit to his private Caribbean island in 2017. Ruemmler first interacted with Epstein after he approached her regarding potential representation for Bill Gates and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, a Goldman Sachs representative informed the Wall Street Journal. The documents disclose that Epstein's staff debated whether Ruemmler might feel uncomfortable about the young female assistants at his townhouse. Several women, alleged to be Epstein's employees, questioned in the documented emails whether they should avoid his residence during Ruemmler's visits. Epstein asked one woman to stay away, but reassured another that her presence was acceptable. The Goldman spokesperson stated that Ruemmler did not express any discomfort about their presence during her meetings at the townhouse. According to the documents, Ruemmler had over 36 appointments with Epstein, including luncheons and dinners. The Goldman representative said Epstein routinely invited her to meetings and social events, introduced her to other business contacts, and provided referrals, similar to her engagements with other contacts and clients. Ruemmler was scheduled to accompany Epstein to Paris and his island residence in the U.S. Virgin Islands in 2017. However, the Goldman spokesperson clarified that Ruemmler never visited his island or accepted any invitation to travel with Epstein. Leon Botstein, the president of Bard College, held numerous meetings with Epstein at his townhouse, starting in 2012 to acknowledge his ongoing donations, including 66 laptops in 2015, as indicated by the documents. Botstein admitted awareness of Epstein's criminal history, stating, "We did a background check and found he was a convicted sex offender. Bard has an extensive program providing education to inmates," and he added, "We believe in rehabilitation." The documents reveal that Botstein, also the music director for the American Symphony Orchestra, invited Epstein to a 2013 opera at Bard and a 2016 college concert. Epstein intended to bring along some of his young female assistants on each occasion. In 2023, the Federal Bureau of Prisons unveiled a trove of documents illuminating the circumstances surrounding the notorious financier's life and death in prison. According to the Associated Press, an early health check noted Epstein as having sleep apnea, constipation, hypertension, lower back pain, and prediabetes. His medical history also included treatment for chlamydia and over 10 female sexual partners in the past 5 years. The documents depict Epstein grappling mentally with his incarceration, with reports of him being restless, unable to sleep, and missing his sleep apnea breathing equipment. Following a bail rejection on July 18, 2019, Epstein attempted suicide, surviving with mere bruises and placed under suicide watch and later psychiatric observation. However, Epstein consistently denied being suicidal, even after spending 31 hours on suicide watch, claiming to lead a wonderful life. Prison officers logged observations of Epstein appearing deep in thought or resting his head against the wall. He also labeled himself a coward, voiced dissatisfaction with his prison jumpsuit color, and felt treated like a bad guy, despite good conduct. Epstein's confinement was starkly different from his lavish lifestyle, and he was devoid of even a functioning toilet at the time of his death. On August 9, 2019, the jail's chief psychologist recommended a cell shift due to a malfunctioning toilet. Irina Reyes was Epstein's cellmate until Reyes left for a court hearing on August 9, 2019. Despite his complaints, Epstein made certain adaptations, including opting for a kosher meal, requesting exercise permission, and spending $73.85 on commissary items, including a radio and headphones. On the day his cellmate left for court, Epstein met his lawyers and made a phone call to his mother, who had been deceased for 15 years. His demeanor was reportedly normal upon his return to his cell. Epstein's cellmate did not return after a court hearing the day before, and prison officials failed to pair another prisoner with him, leaving him alone. The next morning, Epstein was found dead, with multiple neck fractures, including the hyoid bone, often associated with hanging and occasionally with strangulation. The documents disclosed Epstein's efforts to establish contact with Larry Nassar, a convicted sexual offender and former physician of the U.S. women's gymnastics team. Nassar had been found guilty of numerous children and young women. While Epstein was detained at the Metropolitan Correctional Center, a letter he had written was found in the prison's mailroom. The letter, addressed to Nassar, had been returned unopened weeks after Epstein's death. The disclosed documents portray a chaotic prison system scrambling to manage the aftermath of the high-profile inmate's death. The lack of immediate information after Epstein's death frustrated the prosecutor involved in his case, and the Bureau of Prisons was accused of releasing public press releases without sharing basic information. The workers tasked with guarding Epstein the night he killed himself, Tova Noel and Michael Thomas, were charged with lying on prison records to make it seem as though they had made their required checks before Epstein was found lifeless. Prosecutors alleged they were sitting at their desks just 15 feet from Epstein's cell, shopped online for furniture and motorcycles, and walked around the unit's common area instead of making required rounds every 30 minutes. During one 2-hour period, both appeared to have been asleep, according to their indictment. An investigation by the Justice Department's Inspector General is still ongoing. Another email suggested that journalists might be paying prison employees for inside information on Epstein's death. An internal memo blamed issues at the jail on reduced staffing levels, inadequate training, and insufficient oversight.